Well, hey guys, what's up? I hope your week is going well. You must think I just sip on fluids all day. Yes, I pretty much do, but I also do other things while drinking lots of liquids. I just brewed up a cup of iced ginger tea. I've really been enjoying that. I find that herbal teas really have a different flavor and almost a better flavor profile when they're served iced as opposed to hot. I don't know. Maybe I'm alone in that, but this one is by Bigelow and it has like a little bit of a lemon undertone that makes the ginger shine through, kind of like a ginger snap cookie. It's very good. But anyways, tea musings aside, as you can tell from the title and thumbnail, I'm going to share with you guys a review of the Drmtlgy sunscreen. You guys asked me a fair amount about this when I shared it with you guys in a recent vlog. I showed you how it went on and you said that you wanted to hear more about it. Specifically, you are curious, is this a dupe for a sunscreen favorite of mine, the ELTAMD UV Clear? So a little bit about Drmtlgy. I actually had never heard of the brand before getting the sunscreen, and a viewer was nice enough to send it to me. So if you're watching, thank you. I love this sunscreen. But yeah, I never heard of the brand before, and so I went online and found them and did a little bit more reading about them. Drmtlgy is a brand of medical grade skincare. Medical grade skincare, you will ask me a fair number of questions about. Can I recommend medical grade skincare for X, Y, and Z? Is it worth it to buy medical grade skincare? So I'll just say this, medical grade skincare, when you hear that, what you should realize it is a type of branding of a skincare product and a type of marketing. It really doesn't necessarily mean anything for you as a consumer. Medical grade skincare is skincare that is sold through authorized distributors, namely because of the medical phraseology, namely in clinical settings, whether it be a dermatologist's office, a plastic surgeon's office, or in a medical spa, an aesthetic spa. Many estheticians will sell medical grade skincare. And also online, you can buy it through authorized distributors like dermstore.com, for example. And overwhelmingly so, medical grade skincare does not offer you anything over what you can get affordably priced in the drugstore. Specifically in terms of sunscreen and moisturizers, basic skincare, not necessarily better if it's medical grade. Yes, medical grade skincare tends to put a little bit more effort into the quality and the formulations of some of their products as far as how well they may be tolerated, how nice they may feel, the aesthetics of product feel, active ingredients, that they also may put a little bit more R&D into as far as some of those cosmeceutical ingredients. But again, like I've said in all of my videos, these cosmeceutical ingredients, they are non-drug ingredients that are not regulated by the FDA. They have no oversight, and there's really a dearth of well-controlled studies to say that any of these ingredients are necessary or necessarily beneficial. So it's hard to predict who they are going to help, and because there's no oversight, you can't really objectively compare different medical grade skincare serums and products and whatnot. So, comparing one brand's retinol to another brand's retinol, it's like, comparing preschoolers and picking your favorite one. I mean, who wants to do that? They really, there'll be some subtle differences, but honestly, it's really all marketing and branding. So Drmtlgy skincare takes that middleman out, that authorized distributor, and just sells direct to consumer medical grade skincare products that are made mimic and have similar, if not identical, just in looking at the ingredient list, formulations to many products that you would buy exclusively from an authorized distributor of a specific brand. So for example, the sunscreen I'm going to review for you guys today, they claim their sunscreens are similar to ELTAMD's sunscreens. ELTAMD is a medical grade skincare brand that I personally love. Their products are moderate to expensive moderate, I would say. The reason I like ELTAMD so much is that their brand focuses primarily on those components of skincare that actually matter. Sunscreen, sun protection, and moisturizers. And so their line is various sunscreens and moisturizers that have some subtle differences in formulation that suit different consumers' needs and are easier to comply with. The aesthetics of their sunscreens are phenomenal in terms of the cast, the feel, the texture. So I have always loved ELTAMD long before I was on YouTube. My bias is I'm a dermatologist, so it's in my everyday window. So I'm biased. I've had experience with it through my own clinical practice, and that is why I like it, probably. But it doesn't necessarily mean that it is better than any other sunscreen out there. But I would say the reason I'm so enthusiastic about it is I find that it is the lowest risk in terms of causing problems for people. It is a low risk sunscreen and a high reward, meaning it's more likely that people are going to like it and stick with it, which for sunscreen is really, really important for not only anti-aging but skin cancer prevention. So that's why I love ELTAMD's sunscreens. They have great formulations. Zinc, octinoxate, I mean, those are the sunscreen ingredients, but they really pay attention and they don't include a lot of unnecessary ingredients, so I like them in that regard. Some medical grade skincare uses ingredients that are cosmeceuticals that are expensive to manufacture, and so it substantiates the price if you want to pursue those. For example, peptide creams, peptide moisturizers. Those are expensive to make. I mean, there's no cheap way really around that. So those tend to be a little pricier. But yeah, getting back to the products at hand though, I have really been loving the Drmtlgy Broad Spectrum SPF 45 sunscreen. It is a combination sunscreen, meaning zinc is a physical sunscreen ingredient that covers UVB and UVA, as well as octinoxate, which covers UVB. It's a chemical filter that covers UVB. So the sunscreen's nice, it leaves no cast, it has no fragrance. It is lightweight, oil-free, fantastic for oily-prone skin, acne-prone skin. It doesn't have a greasy feel to it. It doesn't leave a shine. It dries matte but is moisturizing. It is easy, at low risk for people with rosacea, sensitive skin, and it's fantastic. It has niacinamide in it, which is an ingredient frequently found in moisturizers and sunscreens that has been shown to be helpful for redness, is anti-inflammatory. It also has hyaluronic acid, which is a humectant that holds onto water in the skin, so it keeps the skin hydrated and simultaneously has that nice matte finish to it. So it's not going to dry out your skin, in other words, like some other sunscreens might. And this also has a unique ingredient. It has a Polygonum aviculare extract, which is birdweed. It's an antioxidant. So they have included that in this. It's phenomenal. It is 22 bucks for the 2-ounce bottle, which is a great value. In contrast, ELTAMD UV Clear, which I also love, likewise is fantastic for oily prone skin, acne prone skin. It is oil free, fragrance free. Like the Drmtlgy sunscreen, ELTAMD UV Clear has niacinamide in it, so you're going to have that niacinamide there in both sunscreens for redness and anti-inflammatory properties. Niacinamide, by the way, is a wonderful ingredient for people with rosacea. It can help in lessening some of that redness from rosacea. And it also, the other thing I forgot to mention about niacinamide, it can also be helpful for people who are predisposed to hyperpigmentation. So these sunscreens are great choices for people who tend to get maybe melasma or worsening hyperpigmentation in the sun. These are great in that sense. And it too dries matte. So this is great for those of you who wear makeup. I have to say though, ELTAMD UV Clear differs from Drmtlgy in that it is a little bit, it's thicker. It's a little thicker. And I find occasionally, not always, and I can't correlate it with anything, I find that occasionally ELTAMD UV Clear does pill. Now I've been using Drmtlgy for several weeks now, and I've really been trying to give it a good college try to rule out pilling before I came on here, and I have not experienced any pilling or clumping up of this sunscreen whatsoever. So it's a subtle difference. So it's a difference between the two. This one's thicker. This one is a lot more lightweight than ELTAMD UV Clear, and it does not do that pilling thing. So if you've had problems with this, consider the Drmtlgy one. In my experience, it does not pill at all. And sometimes I find UV Clear, ELTAMD UV Clear can pill. So give us a try if you are put off by pilling and you're a makeup wearer. I'm not. I've never tried either with makeup, so I really can't say 100% how well they pair with makeup, but I imagine that the pilling with the UV Clear, and you guys have said this, I imagine that can really muck up your foundations and things like that, whereas this is less likely to do that. So I think you'll like it. The ELTAMD UV Clear does not have this this extract, the birdweed extract. So that's a difference. I'm not super familiar with the birdweed extract, so I can't say if it might cause problems for people, but I haven't had any issue with it, and I suppose it has the potential to be anti-inflammatory, given that it's an antioxidant. So there's that, but it seems low risk. I mentioned the niacinamide, and both of them, of course, have hyaluronic acid. Another key difference between the two that may not be important to you, and honestly is not super important to me, is the preservative. Preservatives are an area of skincare that receives a lot of negative attention, a lot of fear and phobia around preservatives, particularly like parabens. I have a video explaining why parabens are not the devil, so check that out if you are at all fearful of parabens. But preservatives in skincare are great. You don't want Pseudomonas contaminating your sunscreen or your face wash. They are great. They ensure product stability. They're important. You have to have them, otherwise the shelf life is pretty limited and there are risks associated. So these two sunscreens differ in the preservatives that they use. The preservative is neither preservative is the devil, but preservatives, like any ingredient, have the potential to be something that you could become sensitized to and subsequently have an allergy to. This most commonly occurs with added fragrance to things, but it also occurs a fair amount with different preservatives in skincare. A common preservative allergen is methyl isothiazinolone or methylchloroisothiazinolone. Believe it or not, parabens actually are lower risk of allergies. Seem to be a preservative that people don't develop allergy to as readily as some of the other ones. But anyways, these two differ in the preservative they use. Drmtlgy uses phenoxyethanol, and ELTAMD uses iodopropyl carbamate. Again, neither are the devil. They're both safe, they're both fine, they both keep the product stable. But if you are someone who has developed an allergy to iodopropyl carbamate, which I see more often than phenoxyethanol, you can't use ELTAMD UV Clear. And if you were liking the aesthetics of UV Clear, consider Drmtlgy. It doesn't have that preservative in it. It has phenoxyethanol in it instead. Likewise, if you're allergic to phenoxyethanol or have problems with it, you're not going to want to use Drmtlgy. You might want to choose ELTAMD UV Clear. So there's just some subtle differences in the two. Again, it doesn't make a difference to me. I don't have a sensitivity or an allergy to either one, and I'm glad that both of them use a preservative. That is fantastic. So yeah. The other thing that I will point out that everybody always talks about, and I used to not really care so much about, but I've come to appreciate, is the packaging is similar to for both of them, and it's in a pump, which I like for sunscreen. I like for any product. I like the pump personally. But Drmtlgy, you know, an issue with the pump is that when you get down to the bottom, you have product that you can't quite get up into the little straw, or in this case, a suction device. Drmtlgy, you can actually unscrew the top and, you know, dump out whatever little dregs there are at the bottom, so you don't waste it. Whereas UV Clear, you really, can you do that? You really can't do that with the packaging on UV Clear. So that's a little different. You may end up wasting some of UV Clear. I'm not sure though, you know, it's opaque, so I never know if there really is anything in there left. It's hard to know. But yeah, I really like both of them, but I gotta say, you know, this one is 22 bucks for 2 ounces, and this one on dermstore.com is 33 bucks. And so this is obviously a better value. So I really like them, and I recommend both. I recommend Drmtlgy. I mean, honestly, it's more affordable. You're more likely to stick with something that is affordable, particularly when you have to keep reapplying it and you go through it. And the other nice thing about Drmtlgy is you, maybe it's easier for you to get. You just buy it directly from their site. I will list their site down below. No, it's not an affiliate link. I'm not sponsored by them. You know, again, a viewer was nice enough to send me this sunscreen, and I just, you know, happened to like it. So you buy it from their website. You also can buy it on Amazon. Both sunscreens are cruelty-free, but neither mentions anything about being vegan. So I don't know that they're vegan. Fun fact that I recently came to learn about vegan ingredients is that xanthan gum, you guys maybe already knew this, but xanthan gum, which is a thickener that's in a lot of our foods and just a ton of stuff, believe it or not, xanthan gum can be an ingredient that is not technically vegan, because depending on how the xanthan gum was made, it could be the enzymes that are used in making xanthan gum can be derived from, I believe, bovine sources, or some other animal. So technically xanthan gum, depending on the enzyme that was used in processing it, can be non-vegan. So the xanthan gum has to specify it's vegan. And I learned this from The Altruist, because they were transparent enough on their website to answer the question about vegan, is your product vegan? And they researched and found out that technically no, their sunscreens are not vegan, because the distributor that they get their xanthan gum from uses the enzyme that is animal derived. So I really, you know, yet again, applaud Altruist. I know vegans out there would be like, I can't use Altruist. Yeah, I hear you, you want, you know, no animals involved. But you gotta say, like, I've not seen that level of transparency on an FAQ page for a product at all. Like, I've learned something from them, and the fact that they went to that level of detail to investigate that, I've never seen that really from another brand. And I imagine it has to do with the fact that there's probably a lot of variability from batch to batch as to where they get their xanthan gum, and you know, so they may not actually know 100%, and that's maybe why they're a little bit resistant to answer that question, because, you know, they may not be able to say for sure that the manufacturer used the animal enzyme or not. So learned something from Altruist, but Altruist is not vegan. Is the other thing that I learned. Altruist is a sunscreen that I like. If you're new here, you're like, what the heck is she talking about? So yeah, can't comment on the vegan status, but they are both cruelty-free. So I know many of you only want to use cruelty-free, and that is an option. Yeah, another sip. How did I go this long without taking a sip? It's impressive for me. I really like the sunscreen. I strongly recommend it. I saw on their site they've got a water-resistant sports sunscreen that I would love to try out. Comment below if you would like to see a comparison of that to my other ELTAMD favorite, UV Sport, and I'll see if I can't get my hands on it. I also saw that they're coming out with tinted, or they have a tinted sunscreen, so that might be another one that you guys might be interested in. But comment below if you've tried anything from this brand, like what your experience has been. So I'd love to know if you guys have tried any of their products before. But if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and as always, don't forget, sunscreen and subscribe. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.